This is yet another MBA GOAT, a podcast featuring conversations with the greatest of all-time MBA alumni from the Naveen Jindal School of Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. We are here to celebrate the outcomes of graduate management education and to identify remarkable examples of how the MBA program here at the Jindal School has transformed the lives of our alumni. Now, here's Lisa Shatz, Assistant Dean for the Jindal School's MBA programs. Take it away, Lisa.
Hey, you guys. Welcome to yet another MBA GOAT. Today we have Melike Coskun, class of 20, with us, and she is a global supply manager at Tesla. Hey, Melike.
Hey, Lisa.
Good to see you.
So good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Melike left us for the California coast a couple of years ago, and so we don't see each other often, but I'm glad we get to catch up now. So I'm going to jump right into talking about your experience here as an international student. So Melike, you came from Turkey. Your background was not in supply chain. You had a really interesting background. Talk about that a little bit and what you did for I think it was the Department of Trade in Turkey.
Sure. Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, definitely. So I had 10 years of experience in Turkey before coming from my MBA to UTD. And that 10 years I was in defense industry mostly. And as you just mentioned, my last job was working for Department for International Trade at the British Embassy in Turkey, which included a lot of international experience and some industry background and so on. And then, so my husband was coming to Dallas for a project, for a long-term project. And at that time, I was also looking for a career switch, really unsure of what I want to do, but something other than what I have been doing for this long time. And yeah, then of course, UTD was a natural choice, to be honest. And I had applied for another program, in fact, at the beginning. Then I remember being called and being asked if I would want to join the MBA instead, which I had thought initially, but I was a bit scared, I think, if I would be the right fit for the MBA. But yeah, I'm so happy that I made that choice and yeah, got my MBA at UTD.
I didn't remember that you came from another program.
Yeah, I did.
And I'm guessing, I don't remember this exactly, but I'm guessing when you came in, it wasn't like, well, I've been working for the Department of Defense and the embassy, and now I want to be in supply chain. Was that a process that you learned through the program? And was it through the very beginning of the program, like Lead Camp, or did it take a while?
Exactly. No, you're so right. So I started my MBA and I was just starting the MBA. Yeah, it was at Lead Camp. And I was thinking about doing also the dual degree program, which I believe is a great opportunity at UTD. But I wasn't sure which route to take. Then, yeah, at Lead Camp, I remember two of the alumni actually, we had a session for supply chain and they were explaining what they were doing and so on. And then I said, okay, I want to do this. So yeah, then I applied for the supply chain management master's as well. So I took the dual degree route and yeah, that's how I got into it.
And you actually went to Tesla to do an internship.
Yes.
And then that rolled into a full-time offer. And what is it like doing supply chain at Tesla? And how different is that from all the work you've done before?
Oh, yeah, it is very different. So yeah, all the work I've done before, it was definitely not paced like this. The pace was much different. Yeah, Tesla, it is such a fast-paced environment. And when I say this, I really mean it. It is really fast-paced. You need to be very fast, really quick decision-making. Opportunities are always in front of you, so you won't miss that one. And yeah, it is busy. And just like you mentioned, I started with an internship in the fall of my second year. Yeah, that was a full time. And I continued my internship for the 2 semesters, fall and the last spring. And yeah, I converted to full-time afterwards. And yeah, since I joined, I really loved it. Loved the pace, loved the mission. So yeah, it's really a great opportunity.
So students often talk about, oh, I just don't know if I can be out of school for a year and a half or 2 year out of work. And you really did what a lot of our students do. You came for the fall and the spring, and then you really worked from there on. It was really only 2 long semesters, which is about 8 months out of the workforce, and then doing a summer internship, a fall internship, and a spring internship, and then going to the company full time. So what were your feelings when you first got here? I know the panic among international students is so much greater on, will I get an internship? Will it be the right place? Will I do everything right to make sure I maintain my visa status, all that kind of stuff. Talk about your nervousness or your feelings when you came in, and then those of the other international students in the class, because it is a very different journey for our international students than our domestic students.
For sure. So I'll start by saying what everyone told us. It will be okay. And at that point, you really do not believe in this because, just like you mentioned, you are stressed out, right? It's a different country, and there are so many other milestones really for the international students you need to follow. You need to make sure you apply at the right time, right? Visa status. You need to keep yourself updated with all the updates regarding the visa and so on. And in doing so, definitely there is another level of stress in addition to all that internship search, getting the good grades in the class and so on. And I remember also in lead camp, the alumni were saying, no, it's going to be okay. Just have fun, enjoy the program. This is what I would do if I went back. And I'll say the same thing. This is definitely what I would do if I went back. Do not stress out that much. Definitely, because it will be okay. And also our cohort, right? All internationals got great opportunities for internships, for the full-time, etc. So yeah, for me, it also worked out. But definitely as an international, you are never sure if you will get the opportunity you really want. However, yeah, that happens. So my advice would be definitely try to relax, try to focus, and it will pay off for sure. All the effort, you will definitely be seen if there are any internationals listening to us.
Did you ever feel alone?
Yeah, at times. However, I remember even at the very beginning, our cohort was really very close. So my husband was working abroad. He was working in Europe, so he was traveling very often as well. And I remember one thunderstorm where I experienced the Texas thunderstorm for the first time. And I remember all our class chat, everyone was trying to help each other. And at that time, I was about to feel alone. But then I said, people got my back. I'm good here. And I remember that one. And I remember the time I was just starting to drive for the MBA conference. And yeah, my car was not working. So I texted again the class chat, and all of a sudden I received 5 calls offering if they can come by, they can take me and so on. So yeah, there were times where I was about to feel alone, but no, I had the cohort support always with me. And I think this talks for all our cohort. We always felt supported by each other, and we always lifted each other up. So that's also another thing. I was so happy with the program, because coming to the MBA program, I was not sure if it's going to be insanely competitive that people would not try to help each other. It was definitely the other way around. At UTD MBA, I mean, we're still so close with each other. They're not classmates. They are lifelong friends. That's definitely the highlight, one of the highlights in the program, I would say.
Yeah, we, I've learned so much over the years, just working with all of our international students, not just on different countries and traditions and all that kind of stuff. But, I think at the beginning, I was kind of like, well, everything will be fine and they'll get jobs and all that kind of stuff. Where now I've really learned to put myself in that position, or to be honest, I put my kids in that position. I think, what if my kids went abroad? And when I think, and that's why I asked that question about being alone, because to me, if my kids went overseas and they didn't get a job and they had to come back, those are all the things that people worry about. But really what I would worry about is that they would feel alone. And I would never want to put them in that position. But, I think the cohort is great, but also Texas is just a friendly place.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Something I can say we missed here. When we moved here for the first time to California. Yeah. We're like, yeah, well, we'll manage. It's okay.
Yeah. There's good and bad with every state. I come from New York where everybody says nobody's friendly. I think people are super friendly in New York, but I hear otherwise. But as much as there's things we don't like, you did remind me I should really talk more about the thunderstorms. When people ask about coming here, I tell them about the heat. My first reaction is like, you're going to get here in August. Don't worry. Right around September 15th, definitely by October, it'll be livable. But I don't think to tell them about the thunderstorms, which are pretty terrible.
Right. No, that happened in the first semester, I think around like October, late October-ish. So yeah. And that's true.
I think that was the one that they had like hurricane winds, and I lost a massive tree in my backyard. So I remember that really well. But yeah, Texas has its original character. Definitely good stuff and, exciting stuff. We need to learn how to harness the energy from the storms, and we wouldn't have problems with our electrical grid.
I know that might not be bad.
So one other thing that kind of differentiated you in the program, it's not an outlier. There's actually quite a few students who are married, but you were married in the program, and probably under a quarter of our students are married, and probably about 3/4, I'd say, are single. Did that affect you at all?
Not really, because I had full support from my husband. I think that's one of the key points. And I think you also touched upon this one in one of the previous podcasts as well. When there's the spouses lunch, right, where you set the expectations and so on, what will be happening in the program. So I had full support because the program is pretty busy, right? If the house does not have a supporting, let's say, path, it is pretty hard, especially for the internationals, since there is usually not other family members around. It's even harder, right? You have this small family of yours where you're trying to get your MBA with everything. So definitely it was not hard. But you need to have the support from your partner. So that will make life much easier. And especially when I started my internship, because that semester I was taking 5 classes and full-time internship. So I had to manage even the weekends. I had my full-time internship during the week, evenings, classes, weekends were for homework, for assignments, for anything else I need to catch up. So I had a pretty rough 4 months, but definitely that support was very important for me as well.
Let's talk just briefly about supply chain specifically.
Sure.
So if there's anyone listening that's either a current student or a prospective student, what are your thoughts about supply chain? Anything that you would do differently? Any specific classes that you recommend now that you're out in the workforce full time? Is there anything you think, I wish while I was there, I learned, this, or even if it's not related to supply chain, just something that, maybe you didn't get a chance to take, or something that you didn't get a chance to participate in, anything like that?
Sure. So, to be honest, I think all classes were very useful and helpful for me now as well. And not even only supply chain. I think all other classes you would think, I'm not sure if this would be related to supply chain. For example, I will give an example of organizational behavior, OB class, because we're working in teams, right? We're working in cross-functional. Supply chain is right in the middle of this cross-functional alignment, especially if you are working in such a fast-paced environment. So you need to understand everything in addition to supply chain, really, how this organization should be working, where am I located in this chain, and how can I take it forward? So I believe all these add value in my role now. Of course, supply chain classes are the core of it. But all the classes, and as I mentioned, I would take it a bit easier if I really knew this was going to work out all fine. But yeah, as an international, you have that level of extra stress. So maybe I could have taken more different courses, not core courses only, but more electives, because that's the right time, right? And I also listened to one of the podcasts, right? You might want to go back to school for more like classes like entrepreneurship and so on. So definitely, I think all those add value in my current role as well. Because supply chain, right now it is like it's getting affected by every single thing really that's happening in the world. So having this wide perspective is really useful in my current role as well.
This episode is brought to you by the UT Dallas MBA program, top ranked nationally and in Texas. The UT Dallas MBA combines a robust core with 13 concentrations. You have an option to add a second master's degree, and your choices for that include 5 STEM-designated programs. The MBA program has full-time, part-time, online, and other formats. They give you flexibility to fit your MBA education into your busy schedule. The skills and training you will receive are what top employers are looking for. For more information, visit us online at jindal.utdallas.edu/MBA.
So when you talk about that trade-off, like you're really balancing, if you knew you were getting an offer from Tesla right off, then you would have chosen differently, like we all would, right? So it's a balance because you'd love to just experiment and take classes that will help you in the long term. But you really feel the pressure to take classes that help you in the short term. And that's a challenge that that all of our students have. And I really encourage them, pick a negotiations class. When I got my MBA, that was one of the classes I use every day now, 20 some years later. I get it that students really want that skill that they can put on their resume. They want to be able to say they know Python or they're a Six Sigma black belt and those kind of things that really get your resume pulled. And yet you want those softer skills and those leadership skills that are going to really pay off in the long term. So it's really a balancing
Exactly.
act.
And yeah, just like you touched upon that one, soft skills. And you always hear it in the program, right? But just like you said, it's always this thought in your mind, no, I need to learn something very quickly. No, soft skills, those are the most desired skills at managers in this decade. So yeah, negotiation class, I'm so happy that I took it. First of all, I use it probably over 10 times during a day in my current role. All I do is negotiation, right? Here and there. So yeah, definitely. But I think especially for the internationals, trying to kind of like not lose that thought, but take it a bit, to the back and focus more on the journey, thinking everything will be all right. And I think at that point, both support at home and both support at cohort and of course with all the MBA office is a very good deal. I remember getting worried at times, and I remember Karan from our cohort, he said something, Melike, you just need one chance. Once someone gives you that chance, you will be able to show your skills and that will move forward. I still remember that one because I did my internship opportunity in summer of the first year, that got away due to COVID. I had to take another one right away. And then I had the Tesla opportunity, and Tesla really was my dream company to work in. And I remembered that one. Okay, I just need one chance, which worked out. So definitely I would recommend to keep that in mind. You just need one chance to move forward, then you should be able to show all your skills.
Great advice. That's a great thought. I'll remember that. I need to use that in the future. So you said Tesla moves like at the speed of light, and I've heard that. But people also say that about the program, the full-time MBA program. So I'm going to ask you a really hard question, and it might be a hard one to answer, but you have to pick one. Which is faster?
Oh, almost the same, I would say, seriously. Because in the first semester, I remember going to the MBA conference, and I also remember you saying, team, you need to go. It doesn't matter. You have 5 midterms the week after, which was true. We had all the midterms right after that conference. And you said, this will not come back. You will do fine in the midterms. And I remember the cohort going there, coming back, having all 5 midterms in the same week. So yeah, it is a great pace. Once you pick it up, then you just move forward.
Isn't it great how the MBA conferences always pick right during midterms for the conferences? You think because it's all MBA students going that somebody would have said, hey, how about you put it a week later? But they always seem to time it right in the middle of everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And even that worked fine, right? Even that worked. Yeah.
It all works out.
So, yep.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you the lightning round of questions. Don't think too hard. Just whatever comes to your mind. Who is your favorite faculty member?
Oh, Dr. Jeffrey Hicks.
And what good habits did you learn in the program?
Time management.
And what's one bad habit that you picked up?
Well, I was not good at pulling all-nighters, but I might have done it a couple of times.
Hopefully you don't have to do that at Tesla.
Well.
What is your funnest memory?
To be honest, and no, I'm not trying to generalize it, but whenever I think about that period, I always have a smile on my face, really. Yeah, so not one moment, but for the whole program. It was so much fun.
And if you had just 1 hour to come back and you could do anything you wanted here in Richardson, but you only had 1 hour, what would it be?
Oh, I would definitely come to UTG, sit in the class. I would really want all the cohort to be there. And that energy. And this was before COVID when we had just in-person classes, right? So that energy right before that 9 a.m. class where, you feel in the class. Yeah, that was really something I would miss.
Well, hopefully you'll come back to visit Dallas sometime. And hopefully if you do, you'll do it at a fun time. Well, the good thing is you rolled into from a fun program to a fun company. Now you get to work at your dream company on a product that's pretty fun and a brand that's pretty well known, very often in the news, and making things happen. So electric cars is pretty exciting.
Exactly. Yep.
And I take it you'll be at Tesla for quite a while. So you'll probably see multiple rounds and variations on Tesla. So can you give us any inside information on what the world should expect from Tesla next?
Oh, I can say, be ready. No, definitely. Yeah. The industry, it's really so fast paced and has a great mission. And I'm happy to be a part of it. And there are many UTD grads, by the way, including my manager as well at Tesla. So, we also have that network there. And I'm really so glad to be part of it.
Well, good. Maybe next time you're around for the San Francisco or San Jose trip, we'll stop in at Tesla and say hi to y'all.
That would be great.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us, Melike. Hopefully we'll have a lot of international students and other students listening to this podcast. But, I think you're a great example of students who come over across the world looking for an experience, maybe not knowing exactly what to expect, but making absolutely the most of it and jumping in feet first and not holding back, and our goal is always to elevate everyone in our class. And so domestic or international, we're, on teams, we are all working for each other's success. And I think when students succeed, the whole class cheers and takes some ownership for that and some pride. So, with this coming year, I think we have 8 or 9 countries represented in our international population coming in. And, we'll just continue to run a global program and hope that all of our students benefit from all the perspectives that we bring into one classroom of 50 students.
That's great. Thank you so much for having me one more time, Lisa. And I cannot emphasize enough how much support we got from the MBA office, really. We always felt supported. We always felt like almost at home, right? And because, UTD was our new home, really. And I'm so glad to be a part of the UTD alumni community and also to be taking place in this podcast. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We are so glad you could join us today and hear about the journey of yet another MBA GOAT. For me, my MBA was truly transitional, as it is for so many of our students. If you're wondering where an MBA can take you, reach out to us and let's talk about you. Email us at mba@utdallas.edu and feel free to ask for me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of yet another MBA GOAT podcast. Join us online at mbagoat.com to find episode notes, links, and more. Be sure to subscribe to yet another MBA GOAT podcast on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review. That will help spread the word about the podcast and the Jindal School's MBA programs. To learn more about the Jindal School's MBA programs, go to jindal.utdallas.edu/MBA.